You've heard it 1,000 times. Success means waking up at 5 in the morning, downing a protein shake, journaling your gratitude, sprinting through 100 tasks, and falling into bed exhausted only to wake up and do it again. Hustle harder, sleep less, grind more. That's the narrative sold by modern productivity culture. But when you study how real millionaires actually spend their time, the ones who built lasting wealth, not just loud influence, a very different picture begins to emerge. Because the truth is, they don't grind harder, they engineer smarter. They don't react to time, they architect it. Welcome back to the official FinFlix channel. In this episode, we're pulling back the curtain on how high net worth individuals manage, allocate, and protect their most finite resource. Not money, not energy, not ideas, but time. Let's start with the single most important shift. Millionaires treat time as a leverage asset, not a scheduling tool. Most people view time as a thing they have to squeeze, a finite number of hours they must fill. But millionaires flip that logic. They don't ask, how can I do more? They ask, what can be done without me? And then they build toward it. They prioritize systems over tasks, delegation over control, strategy over busy work. Tasks that return zero long-term compounding? Eliminated. Tasks that can be repeated? Systematized. Tasks that need to happen but not by them? Delegated or outsourced. This mindset shift from time manager to time investor is one of the most consistent traits across individuals who have built not just income but wealth. Time is not something they spend. It's something they assign with purpose and long-term value in mind. This brings us to principle 2, decision minimalism. Millionaires conserve mental energy the same way athletes conserve physical energy by removing wasteful inputs. They understand that every micro-decision, no matter how trivial, drains their decision-making battery. And when that battery's low, cognitive quality drops fast. So instead of optimizing every decision, they eliminate most of them. Steve Jobs wore the same black turtleneck every day. Barack Obama rotated 2 suit colors. Jeff Bezos made all major decisions before noon. This isn't about being robotic. It's about conserving executive function for the moments that actually matter. Whether it's an investment decision, a negotiation, a hiring choice, or a strategic pivot. High-level thinkers optimize their days around mental clarity, not maximum volume. Then there's the third pillar, compound learning blocks. If you ask a millionaire what their most valuable skill is, many will say the same thing, the ability to learn faster than others. And it's no accident they schedule time to think, reflect, read, and refine. Warren Buffett reportedly spends 80% of his day reading. Charlie Munger once said, "In my whole life, I've known no wise people who didn't read books all the time." These aren't leisure reads. They're targeted deep dives, chosen to build frameworks, not trivia. Successful individuals build what you could call a personal MBA stacked book by book, conversation by conversation, week over week. They're not reading for entertainment, they're reading for edge. Naval Ravikant refers to this as specific knowledge. Knowledge that is unique to your perspective, hard to commodify, and impossible to teach in a classroom. And every hour spent refining that edge pays exponential dividends across their career. Next, we have principle 4, calendar integrity. For millionaires, the calendar isn't just a list of appointments, it's a mirror of their values. What gets scheduled gets done. So they don't schedule by default, they schedule by design. That means blocking time for deep work uninterrupted, high cognition effort that produces exponential results. It means reserving space for health, for family, for mental recovery, because those inputs fuel the performance engine. Some go a step further and theme their weeks or quarters, Monday for vision, Tuesday for people, Wednesday for leverage, and so on. They use time blocks the way architects use blueprints. Deliberate, aligned, and deeply strategic. If something appears on the calendar that doesn't align with their goals or energy zones, it's cut, no apologies. Because each yes is 1,000 silent no's. Calendar integrity isn't about being rigid. It's about being clear. But perhaps the most counterintuitive principle of all is this: millionaires don't optimize for time. They optimize for energy. Most people plan their days by the clock. Millionaires plan by cognition. They ask, when am I most creative? When do I make my best decisions? When am I naturally focused? They map their energy peaks and valleys, then design their schedule around those zones. Some block their best energy for writing, strategy, or deep thinking. Others save that window for tough conversations, creative collaboration, or high-stakes deals, what you won't find. Blind allegiance to 9-to-5 norms. Because the goal isn't to fill hours, it's to protect output quality. When energy is optimized, less time is required to produce better results. And that's leverage. Now that we've unpacked the 5 foundational principles, time is leverage, decision minimalism, compound learning, calendar integrity, and energy mapping, it's time to see how these ideas play out in the real world. Because theory is only useful when it meets application. In the next section, we'll dive deep into how different types of millionaires structure their days. From early-stage builders to corporate executives to lifestyle investors. You'll see how these frameworks are tailored, stacked, and evolved. You'll even run your own time audit. And most importantly, you'll learn how to build a system that works for your life, not someone else's highlight reel. The goal isn't to mimic their life, it's to master your own. Let's start with how this plays out in real life, because while frameworks are powerful, it's implementation that builds momentum. Real millionaires don't share a cookie-cutter schedule. Instead, their calendars are structured around their roles, their leverage points, and most importantly, their strengths. So let's look at 3 archetypes and unpack how each designs their time: the builder, the executive, and the investor. We're not just talking about job titles. We're talking about identities, ways of operating in the world that require different time strategies. Once you know which archetype you're closest to right now, you'll know how to design a schedule that actually fits your stage of growth. Meet Sierra, the builder. She runs a creative agency that grew from a solo freelance operation into a team of 6. Sierra's job is to protect strategic momentum. So she starts her day at 7 o'clock in the morning with a non-negotiable 2-hour deep work block. No meetings, no email. Just focused creative output. Drafting proposals, building templates, refining systems. Her phone stays on airplane mode. By 9:30, she transitions into what she calls selective communication, answering only mission-critical messages or voice notes from her team. From 11 to 1, she either batch records content or joins one-to-one calls with high-leverage collaborators. Afternoons are reserved for logistics, mentorship, and learning. Fridays? They're called red pen days. She doesn't build anything. She audits, she reflects, she fine-tunes. Every quarter, Sierra runs a calendar autopsy. She prints her last month of meetings, highlights the ones that drained her, and deletes or delegates them going forward. Her time isn't just tracked, it's sculpted. Now meet Julian, the corporate executive. He's the COO of a mid-sized SaaS firm. Julian's job isn't to execute, it's to enable execution. So he builds time leverage across people and process. Mondays and Thursdays are no meeting days, period. Instead, those blocks are reserved for deep strategy, high-stakes hiring, or systems design. His entire calendar is color-coded: purple for vision, green for people, red for performance. Every meeting must have a defined purpose: decide, update, or unblock. If it's not one of those, it gets cut. Julian's week is framed around context-switching discipline. He never flips between strategic planning and admin in the same block. Instead, low-cognition tasks are stacked into one 90-minute admin surge block on Friday afternoons. He's also trained his assistant to filter every calendar invite using a decision tree. Does this serve quarterly goals? If not, it doesn't make the cut. And every Friday, Julian runs a calendar forecast, looking ahead 21 days to protect high-value energy blocks. He's not just efficient, he's intentional. Finally, meet Lana, the lifestyle investor. After exiting her startup, she now manages a real estate portfolio and angel investments full-time. Her time strategy? Optionality with rhythm. Mornings begin with long walks, no phone, just thinking. These mobile clarity blocks are where she brainstorms, reflects on deal flow, or simply resets. By 10 in the morning, she's home and reviewing performance dashboards or underwriting new opportunities. Lunch meetings are reserved for connection, mentorship, founder chats, or deal partnerships. Her afternoons are quiet, reading, strategic calls, or catching up with analysts. Lana's secret weapon is what she calls the day theming protocol. Mondays are macro, the economy, the portfolio, the big picture. Tuesdays are tactics, specific property or investment reviews. Wednesdays are white space, creative projects, or family focus. Thursdays are talking, calls, collabs, interviews. And Fridays? Flex, her calendar looks sparse from the outside. but every block is defended by principle. Her wealth isn't just net worth, it's time autonomy. Now let's look at how you can apply these principles. The first tool every one of these millionaires uses is the time audit. Here's how to run your own. For 7 straight days, track what you're doing every 15 to 30 minutes. Use simple categories: deep work, admin, consumption, communication, recovery, or drift. Be brutally honest. At the end of the week, analyze the patterns. What % of your time is going toward high-leverage outputs? What % is shallow or reactive? Most people discover a massive gap between intention and behavior, but awareness is power. The second tool is the 80-20 time filter. Ask yourself, what 20% of my time creates 80% of my results, financially, mentally, or physically? Double down on those hours. Guard them like equity. Then identify the bottom 20%, the tasks or habits that drain disproportionately more than they deliver. Eliminate or automate them. Next comes the time layering method. Group similar activities together to reduce mental drag. Instead of bouncing between email and strategy, batch emails into a 45-minute block. Instead of peppering meetings across 5 days, cluster them into 1 or 2. This theme blocking approach doesn't just protect energy, it accelerates focus. Then add in the energy mapping exercise. For 1 week, rate your energy level every hour from 1 to 5. You'll find patterns. Maybe you're sharp in the morning but crash at 2 p.m. Maybe you peak after a workout. Once you've mapped those peaks, align your tasks accordingly. Don't waste your best cognitive window answering Slack messages. Don't attempt deep work during brain fog. Design your schedule around your biology, not a false ideal. Finally, adopt the weekly look ahead. Every Sunday, take 15 to 20 minutes to preview the week. Review your calendar. Identify the 2 to 3 key outcomes that would make the week a win. Block time for them first. Then build the rest of your schedule around those anchor points. Add recovery time. Audit for noise. Set intention. This one practice, done consistently, can create months of compounded clarity. You're not just organizing your week. You're reclaiming it. In part 3, we'll zoom out. You'll learn how to build a full life operating system, how to audit your time like an investor, how to align your weekly rhythm with your values, and how to scale these habits over a lifetime. You'll also hear a grounded, curiosity-driven teaser for episode 2 of Millionaire Habits, one that challenges the hype and reshapes your mornings forever. Stay locked in, part 3 is up next. But first, if you enjoy this content, give this video a like and subscribe, so you don't miss out on future episodes of this series. Let's zoom out. You've just mapped how millionaires actually spend their hours. You've seen how they filter decisions, block distractions, stack habits, and align energy with intention. But at its core, this isn't about copying what successful people do. It's about mastering what successful people understand. Time is an asset you allocate, not a chore you survive. Wealth isn't built by managing time better, it's built by investing it better. That means making fewer decisions with more intention. Building systems where output isn't tied to effort. Designing weeks around energy, not obligation. And most of all, learning to say no more often than you say yes. Because millionaires know something that takes most people decades to realize: focus isn't something you find. It's something you protect. So what happens when you put these principles into play in your own life? First, your schedule will stop feeling like a to-do list and start feeling like a strategy. You won't wake up trying to crush hours, you'll wake up knowing exactly what hours matter most. You won't say yes to noise, because every no will be backed by a deeper why. You'll spend less time fighting fires and more time building fireproof systems. And slowly, week by week, you'll gain time clarity, then time confidence, and eventually time ownership. But here's the truth. This isn't a flip-the-switch transformation. It's a progression. Millionaires didn't get their time systems perfect overnight. They iterated, they reviewed, they evolved with each season of life, and that's where most people slip. They download a planner or start a calendar, but when life gets messy, the system cracks and they drop it. But what millionaires do differently is they treat time design like wealth management, not emotional, not reactive, but regular and reviewed. So here's your next step. Choose one framework from this episode. Just one. Whether it's the time audit, the energy mapping exercise, the 80-20 analysis, or the deep work calendar block. Implement it this week. Run it in the real world, then adjust. This isn't about mastering 5 tools today. It's about choosing one tool and mastering the skill of application. Over time, you'll stack the rest. Now, if you've been following along and you're hungry for the next level, this is where we pivot. Because time is just the surface. Underneath it is identity. And identity begins with how we start the day. That brings us to what's coming next. You've probably heard it before. Wake up at 4 in the morning. Cold plunge your anxiety away, journal your legacy, drink bulletproof matcha, and visualize a billion-dollar empire before sunrise. Sounds impressive. Looks great in Instagram Reels. But for most people, it's completely unsustainable. So in episode 2, we challenge the most overhyped concept in productivity culture, the billionaire morning routine. We'll strip it down to what actually works and reveal how successful people across industries really start their day. Not the performance, not the PR, the actual mechanics. We'll explore early rhythm patterns, sleep cycles, the myth of morning discipline, and how your chronotype, not your alarm clock, determines your clarity zone. And instead of handing you a pre-built checklist, we'll show you how to build a routine that scales with your lifestyle, not against it. If this series is your journey into time mastery, episode 2 is the bridge from calendar to cognition, from mimicking routines to mastering your rhythm. So if you're ready to keep building, don't just click into the next video. Step into the next system. Because here on Finflix, we're not here to motivate. We're to rewire. And this is only the beginning. Millionaire habits they don't teach you is a full system, not a highlight reel. If today's episode helped you think differently, there's a whole series waiting for you. Hit subscribe. Keep watching. Because real momentum isn't built in one day, it's built daily. Thank you for watching the official Finflix channel. See you in the next video.